Hello. We don't wake up one day and suddenly find ourselves with a huge amount of debt that we're unable to deal with, that is too much for us. It doesn't happen that way. We slip into debt. We realise that we haven't opened this week's post because we spent quite a lot of money last month, and we know that the bill that has just arrived probably contains a bit of a shock because we're slightly unconscious about the amount of money that we spent on those 2 days of pre-Christmas shopping in the mall, and we daren't open the envelope. So we push the envelope away. The same thing happens next week and the next week and the next week, but it might be a credit card bill, an electricity supply bill, a bill from the water company, a reminder to settle that repair on the car that happened a month ago that we didn't pay in full when we collected it and promised to pay the next day by bobbing back with a bit of cash or by doing a bank transfer. We've avoided some phone calls and we are carrying more debt than we were last month, but we're not actually doing anything about it. Let's look at some of the warning signs. The first one is the thing I've just mentioned, which is unopened mail. For me and many of the households I've worked with in the past, the process of stuffing paperwork into a cupboard, putting it in a drawer in the kitchen or out of the sight of anybody who visited, that was a defense mechanism, but it's also a conscious decision not to look at the numbers. When you learn the numbers and you look at your debt numbers, it gives you much more control, and I encourage you to do that. These are all simple methods that I've taken from my book, Climbing Out of Debt, and you can download that on an e-reader or get yourself a paper copy and look at the things in more detail. Unopened post is a very significant early warning sign that you are falling into regular debting behaviour. Another classic sign that you're getting into trouble and you're starting to put yourself deeper and deeper into a hole that takes a while, and putting yourself deeper and deeper into a hole that will take time to dig yourself out of, is delaying payment. It might be the case that your bookkeeper has sent you an invoice saying, this is the amount of money that is owed for the work that was done last quarter, so that you are ready to present your tax bills to the tax authorities and the revenue authorities. So you send half the amount that they've listed on the invoice, and you make a scribbled note to yourself that you'll send the next amount when you get your own payday in 2 weeks' time. And putting yourself deeper and deeper into a hole that will take time to dig yourself out of is delaying payment. It might be the case that your bookkeeper has sent you an invoice saying, this is the amount of money that is owed for the work that was done last quarter, so that you are ready to present your tax bills to the tax authorities and the revenue authorities. So you send half the amount that they've listed on the invoice, and you make a scribbled note to yourself that you'll send the next amount when you get your own payday in 2 weeks' time. Your website developer has sent you an invoice for their work, they've updated it, maybe you could learn to do that yourself and save yourself money for the upcoming quarter or full year ahead, but you don't pay the full amount, you send them a proportionate amount, or you think, oh hang on, they sent me a bill last month that was smaller than this one, so you pay that one in full, but you avoid paying the one that is current, and you think, well, the cash flow is helpful for them, but I'm going to retain my own cash flow and not pay that particular bill. It might be that your landlord sends you a text message to say, listen Billy, or listen Susan, I'm missing X amount on the rent account, can you clarify this and update my account with a payment? And you send them a payment, but it's not the payment that it should have been. You've brought it up to speed somewhat, but you haven't settled it in full. That's something that I, as a writer with some rental property, experience every now and again with some of my tenants. They will make a payment, but they might make a week's payment instead of a month's payment, and they'll send me a little message saying, oh, I'm a bit short this month because my phone bill has come in unexpectedly, or because my car bill has come in and I needed to service the car or buy some tyres. That's not my problem as the landlord, and what you've got to think about is when you are engaging with somebody, whether it is that bookkeeper, the web developer, your landlord, pay the bill in full that you owe so that you are conscious that you're up to speed with the amount. These are bills that you have committed to anyway. You've committed to paying for your website developer and the work that he or she is doing. You've committed to pay your bookkeeper perhaps on a monthly or a quarterly fee, and you want to live in the apartment where you are, so you pay your rent every month. But delaying payment is a sign that you are getting out of control, because what's happening is you are taking the money that you have committed to as a regular expense, and you're avoiding that because you're buying something else that is perhaps what you want, but not what you need. You need to cover your rent. You need to submit your tax account to the local authority or to the National Revenue Assessment Team, and you need your bookkeeper to help you with that. You've got a website, you're a small business, maybe you're a creative business, or you're producing or buying and selling things. Your bookkeeper is the way you go forward, and your web developer is how you reach your audience. Pay those bills, but look out for the fact that you might be delaying payment because you're prioritizing something else that is a want, and you're spending money on it, but it's not a need. Get your priorities right and focus on where you should be spending the money. Another sign that you're out of control with your finances is you're paying for a bank account. You're paying an extra $5 or $12 so that you can have premium service or 24-hour live telephone support rather than 20-hour a day chat support with a foreign call center that might be difficult. You don't need a VIP dining card. You don't need benefits that are costing you more to have access to than you're actually taking advantage of or using on a regular monthly basis. So be thoughtful about those sorts of things and cut out any of the sorts of extras that you're paying for on a credit card, a bank arrangement, because you don't need them. Another really simple sign that we are out of control, that we're struggling with different things, is we get round to the first of the month and we are sort of surprised that there isn't £500 or £1,100 or $1,500 in our account. We secretly thought there would be, but of course the bills have come out for gas and electric and mobile phones and the rent account and all sorts of things, and we're left with $180 because we haven't managed and monitored on a regular basis what was in that account. We've spent money willy-nilly here and there, and we've ended up with hundreds of dollars less than we were expecting. This is being unconscious about your money behavior. It's being out of control with your spending patterns. So you're buying things that you want instead of focusing on what you need and creating a buffer with the difference.